Continuation 16. In the Vishnu Purana it is stated, Translation. Lord Narayan has 3 avatars called Purushas. Narayan is the source of the Chaturvyuha and the Lord of all Vaikuntha Lokas, wherein there is no trace of Maya. Maya, who is indirectly sheltered by Narayan, is prominent on the other side of the Viraj. Sri Narayan's Purusha incarnations manifest for the purpose of empowering Maya's creation of Devidam. The first Purusha avatar is Mahavishnu, who lies on the causal ocean and is the cause of the Mahatattva and false ego. The second Purusha avatar is Hiranyagarbha Vishnu, who lies on the Garbhodak ocean and from whose navel grows a lotus stem upon which the Guna avatar Brahma is born and engaged in creating the universe, which is annihilated by the Guna avatar Rudra. The third Purusha avatar is localized Lord Vishnu, who lies on the Kshirodak ocean and who is worshipable by all living beings. If a conditioned smarta can serve these 3 Purusha avatars, he will be liberated from the clutches of the 3 modes of nature and become a Vaishnava. End translation. Vishnu is the eternal master of Maya. Though the Purusha avatars have a relationship with Maya, they are not controlled by Maya like the conditioned souls. Other than the Supreme Lord Vishnu, all living entities are eligible for being controlled by Maya, even though they are, constitutionally, servants of Vishnu. By surrendering to Lord Vishnu, the Vaishnavas are no longer eligible to be controlled by Maya. Only non-devotees like the Smartas are eligible to be controlled by Maya and forced to accept the results of karma. In the Skanda Purana, Reva Kha-nda, Durvasa speaks to Narada as follows. Translation. O great sage, pure devotees who are expert in protecting the interest of people wander in this world under the instructions of Lord Vishnu, who is situated in everyone's heart. In order to protect the living entities, Lord Hari accepts the form of a devotee and appears in this world out of his causeless mercy. End translation. We can see from the pastimes of Lord Sri Ramachandra that even though he was omnipotent, he acted like a devotee by respecting worldly morality. He did not allow anyone to engage in any kind of illicit activities that people were inclined to. Rather, he accepted all rules and regulations like an ordinary mortal being. In this way, he benefited all the passionate and ignorant living entities. In the Garuda Purana it is said, Translation. Due to their fruitive mentality, the majority of foolish people in Kali Yuga do not come forward to take up the principles of Bhagavad Dharma. Therefore, pure devotees are very rare. The position of a pure devotee is superior to that of the great demigods like Brahma and Mahadev. This is what my spiritual master has told me. If one follows the principles of Varnashram for 100 lifetimes, as a result of his pious activities, he can attain the position of Lord Brahma. But the position of a Vaishnava is more exalted. O sage, know without a doubt that anyone in the age of Kali who possesses the symptoms of a pure devotee and constantly engages in chanting the holy names is a godly personality. End translation. In the Skanda Purana it is stated, translation, those great Vaishnavas whose tongues are decorated with jewel-like prayers to Krishna are respected by the perfected beings, the ascetics, the Brahmins, and the sages, and worshipful for the demigods. End translation. According to the materialistic conceptions of the Smartas, these statements are poetic exaggerations. Such a conception, however, is the result of their sinful activities. Due to their offenses at the feet of the Vaishnavas, they are unable to understand the Vaishnavas' prestigious position, and instead of glorifying the Vaishnavas, they glorify the status of other fruitive workers. Because the karmis offer obeisances to the perfect sages and worship the highly placed residents of heaven, they are under the influence of material desires and are not interested in the worship of Lord Hari or in the topmost position of Hari's devotees. It is stated in the Adi Purana, translation, O son of Kunti, worship only the Vaishnavas, do not worship any demigods. End translation. There is no one more worshipful in the heavenly planets, the earthly planets, or the entire creation than the Vaishnavas. Only karmis with material desires give up the worship of Vaishnavas and, being attached to household life in this miserable material existence, become disinterested in the service of the Vaishnavas. They consider the characteristics of non-devotees to be superior. That is the result, or the punishment, of their karma. Who are the Hari-janas, or Vaishnavas, and what makes them different from the non-devotees? I am quoting various evidence from the scriptures and sentiments of devotees in this Hari-jan kha-nda to answer this question. Before acquiring material designations, the living entity is supremely pure. Even though he is not engaged in serving the Supreme Lord, he remains situated in the neutral position of Shantaras due to his marginal nature. Though the living entity born from the marginal potency does not at that time exhibit a taste for serving the Lord due to a lack of knowledge of self-realization, his direct propensity for serving the Supreme Lord nevertheless remains within him in a dormant state. Though the indirect propensity of material enjoyment, which is contrary to the service of the Lord, is not found in him at that time, indifference to the service of Hari and the seed of material enjoyment, which follows that state of indifference, are nevertheless present within him. The living entity, who belongs to the marginal potency, cannot remain indifferent forever by subduing both devotional and non-devotional propensities. He therefore contemplates unconstitutional activities from his marginal position. As a sleeping person dreams that he is active in the physical world without actually being involved in activities, when the dormant, indifferent living entity of the marginal potency exhibits even a little apathy to the service of the Supreme Lord and situates himself in a neutral, unchanging condition for even a little time, he is infected by impersonalism. That is why the conditioned soul desires to merge into the impersonal Brahman, thus exhibiting his mind's fickle nature. But due to neglecting the eternal service of the Lord, and thereby developing the quality of aversion to the Lord, he cannot remain fixed in that position. In this way, aversion to the Lord breaks his concentration of mind and establishes him as the master of this material world of enjoyment. Maya, The external energy of the Supreme Lord then induces the marginal living entity to enjoy this world through her covering and throwing potencies, and thus shows the living entity the reality of being averse to the Lord's service. At that time, the living entity considers himself the king of enjoyers, and being situated in the mode of passion, he takes the position of Brahma and creates progeny. The living entities who are born from Brahma, the grandfather of everyone, expand themselves in families of Aryans and Brahmins. In this world of duality, however, living entities who are covered and thrown under the control of the external energy naturally become envious. This enviousness further creates pride, illusion, greed, anger, and lust, and induces the living entities to dance frantically in aversion to the Lord. That time, they forget both that they were born from Grandfather Brahma and the Lord's instructions in the Vedas. And on the platform of progress, if a living entity cultivates transcendental sound vibration and revives the process of remembering the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, he then achieves scientific, spiritual knowledge. By this process, all anarthas are destroyed, and he becomes situated in a supremely auspicious position. The mood that arises when one is manipulating his senses is called vilas, or enjoyment. The meaning of the vairagya, or renunciation, is to become averse to the accumulation of sensual knowledge. The conditioned souls who are overwhelmed by the illusory energy of Hari become temporary enjoyers of this world under the control of Maya's covering and throwing potencies. But if such persons fortunately meet devotees who are constantly remembering Krishna, then they can give up insignificant material enjoyment and receive the opportunity to attain transcendental knowledge.